Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and we are welcomed with Mr. AJ Rodriguez. How we doing, man?
I'm doing amazing. How you doing today, Justin?
Blessed, excited to be here. Glad we could pan this out, and glad we can get you on the podcast to share, what and why you love professional wrestling. Before we get started, are there any social medias or any like upcoming events, things like that you want to let the fans know where they can catch you next?
Yeah, definitely. So social media, I'm gonna be on Instagram at Nicholas AJ Rodriguez. And upcoming events, I do have an event. I'll be in San Antonio, Texas this Saturday, March 22nd, wrestling at the Hybrid School of Wrestling, representing my school, the foundation, going up against one of their top guys over there.
Nice, nice. Um, Usually on the I Love Wrestling podcast, we start at natural beginnings. So that's why I'll start with you. When did you find pro wrestling and what made you fall in love with it? Maybe.
Yeah, so I would honestly say that when I was younger, I'd say about like 7, 8 years old, I went over a friend's house and they had SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, the video game.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's really where I got into it. I learned it from him. We started playing with the action figures. We played with the Here Comes the Pain video game, and then I went home and I was just totally like excited by the whole idea of professional wrestling. So I told my parents I needed all the action figures, I needed all the video games, I need to watch all the pay-per-views, everything to like the point where I remember vividly there was a time frame in my life. So in my bedroom when I was a kid, there was like this probably like 7 by 7 little corner where my bed was. There was a time frame where I just had a makeshift wrestling ring where my bed was supposed to be, and I did not have a bed. So I was just sleeping in a in a wrestling ring.
What about wrestling like has really captivated you? What draws you in the most?
Specifically, it's kind of weird, but like I was really captivated by the different entrances that all the wrestlers had because
Okay.
it's like they gave you that you learn who the wrestler is in that short amount of time, even if you just haven't watched them before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'll know who your favorite wrestler is and who your favorite wrestler isn't, who the good guy is, who the bad guy is, and who's gonna really like be exciting and entertain you.
Throughout growing up, a lot of people will go off and venture into other things. Your interest will go somewhere else. Has that ever happened with you, or have you stuck with wrestling the whole time?
Yeah, so wrestling was a big part of my life for about, I would say from 7 to like middle school years. And then when I got
Okay.
into middle school, I kind of drifted away a little bit. And I got into like sports. So I played a lot of basketball at a high level. And I was really just grinding in my basketball day and night. That's all I was thinking about, just basketball, basketball, basketball. And then towards the end of my high school career, I kind of realized that going pro wasn't a possibility for me, just seeing the different skill levels and that's just not where I was going to go. I was going to be that one guy that either goes to college and plays basketball and just ends it there or just decides to stop after high school. So after high school, I just kind of stopped doing that and I got back into professional wrestling. I would say around 2021 is when I got right back into it and like involved in the product.
What pulled you back in?
Specifically, so I moved out here to Orlando when I was 19. I'm not originally from Orlando. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. So when I was 19, I kind of just moved out here to start my own life and kind of, try to build up my character as an individual and not who I was back there. So
Mhm.
when I did move to Orlando, it's just honestly really wrestling based down here. You'll go down to gyms, you'll go to anywhere and you'll see wrestlers. Like I used to work at a specific gym and a lot of the NXT wrestlers would come into that gym. And that's when I started getting more involved in it because there was more of like a personal connection. Like you see them in person and you realize it's not that far-fetched if you really want to go get it. And then I just really got into like the NXT products and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that point in your life, what was your goal? Was it to wrestle, or was you thinking about going down another career path or something like that?
I was honestly, I could say I had goals. Like I know I wanted to be a better person and I wanted to be successful in life. But at that point, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just working odd jobs, going from job to job, just trying to pay my bills. And like, I never really put two and two together, but I feel like there was always in the back of my mind wrestling. Like I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what it was like getting in the ring. I wanted to see if I could even handle taking the bumps, hitting the ropes. Really just trying to let myself all out there in that ring. So that was always in the back of my mind, but I really had no specific passion that I was going for until I did step in a wrestling ring and I realized that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
What made you decide to take that leap of faith and to start training as a professional wrestler?
So once I did realize, like I was saying, that it's not far-fetched, like I'm in a big hotspot for professional wrestling. We got the
Yes.
Performance Center not too far from where I stay. It's literally down the road from where I train. So I pass it almost every day. And then I was working at that gym, seeing all of these NXT wrestlers come in. I would go around to like where I actually worked out and see WWE wrestlers come in, like people that I used to watch as a kid, seeing them actually there in person, just living their normal life like it's nothing. Like I realized that it's a possibility for me, and if I don't go try it, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I should have done it, but I didn't. And my time has passed, so I don't have the opportunity to. So that really is what pushed me towards getting in the ring. So what I did was like, I looked down all the different schools in Orlando. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of wrestling schools in Orlando. So I went to one specific school and just did like a training day, like a one-on-one session just to see how I would like hitting the ropes and stuff like that. And I feel like I knew immediately when I got in the ring, like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. Because I loved entertaining people as a basketball player. I loved being in front of the crowd. I loved getting the reaction out of them. But I also loved the athletic portion of it. And sports entertainment is literally that combined. So a passion that I had as a kid is what I'm looking for as an adult to fulfill, like to make me happy, to make me like really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What what made you decide to train at the foundation with Ace Steel?
So the foundation isn't the first place I actually trained. So I
Okay.
started off my professional wrestling training over at Flatbacks with Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I started, and I really got into professional wrestling because it was like 5 days a week, 4 hours a day, like really going into all the sides of it. But at that point, after I graduated from Flatbacks, like I said, there wasn't a lot of wrestling schools in Orlando. So it was hard for me to really find a place that I felt at home and that I felt I could really progress and get better with my skills. So I took a hiatus from wrestling. So I did the 2 months there, and I'd say I took like maybe like a year off or so, just trying to find places I could go, but knowing that I have wrestling there, like I know I can do it. And once I want to start back up, and then I was working out with my friend, and I didn't even know the foundation opened up. Like I didn't even know Ace really opened up the foundation over in Winter Park, and he was just telling me like how the guy that trained CM Punk opened up a school. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he was like, yeah, it's in Orlando. You should go check it out. So I looked him up, found the foundation's page, and literally I would say that same week I ended up going and meeting Ace and training over at the foundation. And then once I walked in the foundation, I've been to a bunch of schools to check them out, but when I walked in the foundation, it's just a totally different vibe. It's like you walk in there and it's straight business. You know you're in there to get better. You know you're in there to improve others, and you know you're in there for one purpose, and that's to get where you want to be in this wrestling space because a lot of places aren't like that. A lot of places will sugarcoat things. A lot of places will just be there for your money. And I could
Yeah.
tell immediately just being in there from seeing the people on the walls, seeing all the accolades that Ace has, all the testimonials that people have for him, that when you train with him, it's not just to make you better, it's to make professional wrestling, the whole community better in general and kind of just improve upon that.
What was your first interaction like with Ace?
So my first time like really training with Ace, he means business. Like when you get there, we're training, we're getting better. Like it's there's no choice. You're either gonna sink or you're gonna swim. You know what I mean? So he's there, and I could say now knowing him for like almost a year because I've been training for almost a year. He as a coach and as a human being, he's one of the most like genuinely helpful people, and he wants the best for you, and he knows your potential, and if he sees where you can go in professional wrestling, he's going to do all he can to help you get where you want to be. It's like Ace is the man, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Ace is like so dope.
Okay. As a Chicago guy, like Ace is
Yeah.
Ace is somebody that always sticks out to me.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna go back though to Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze. What was
Yes.
your first reaction like? Meeting them. Seeing how I jumped past that.
It was cool, honestly. Like, um, I chose their school because at the time they were the ones with the big names in Orlando where you could go train.
Mhm.
So I wanted to get trained by someone that has been where I want to be. So obviously that's where I want to go. So it's funny. Like it was kind of like a good cop, bad cop. Like you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
the one of them, like they
Who's the
both
good cop?
guess.
I'm gonna guess Breeze.
Yeah, yeah. Keep in
Okay.
mind
Okay.
they were both like amazing. Honestly, I have no complaints about them, but one of them like had like more of a how do you explain, like he wanted to tell you what to do and critique you, and he'll do it in like a very nice way, and then Spears would just be so straight up with you. He'd be like, that was amazing, or nah, man, you got to find something else.
Okay.
Yeah, so they also just want the best from you, and I would say that for me was definitely a great place to start, because if you have the potential and you are coachable and you can listen, they'll give you all the tools that you do need to get to where you want to be as well, like to start you off.
Okay. Something about flatbacks that I've heard. I don't know if it's myth or legend or not. But I've heard about Chop Day. Is that something you got to experience?
Yeah.
What was Chop Day like for you, AJ?
It was painful. I
Okay.
still scarred from that day. I still am scared to take chops now. I think
Okay.
about it and I'm like, wow, yeah. I
How
think
many is it?
So with my class, we started off, flatbacks is hard. So if you think you're gonna go into flatbacks and it's going to be easy, it's not. So I went in there and I want to say we had, not even over exaggerating, like 12 to 15 people start. And by the time we got to chop day, because chop day was almost like the last week, by the time we got to chop day, there was about 5 people. A lot of people dropped out. They weren't built for flatbacks. They thought it was gonna be a breeze, no pun intended. And it just wasn't. They didn't even have the cardio, the passion, or they weren't ready for it. So we got to chop day. There was only 5 people. So Reason Spears knew that like it's not just fair just for us to get 2 chops each from each person. That's like 10 chops. It's not a lot compared to the
It's
other
not
class.
gonna, it's
Yeah,
that's
it's
deal with
not
it. You
enough.
can deal with that. You've been
It's not
training for
enough.
this.
Exactly. It's not enough. You've earned your stripes here. You got to get it done. So on chop day, they don't tell you when chop day is. You just come and they're like, well, it's chop day today. So we noticed, so we usually have people coming to train with us, but there was a lot more like people in the business there that day. So like people on AEW or people that are at a company there that day. So we're like, all right, this is interesting. So we got chopped by all of those people. So I would say in total, there was, if I had to think, it was 2 chops each. It was 5 of us, and there was them. That's 7. I would say it was probably like 20 chops. It was a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot. I came home. I even have a picture of it. My chest was red, like bleeding a little bit. Like it was a lot.
Well, like I've seen, I mean, the most notable one that's visited Chop Day is probably Van Fleet. Chris Van Fleet did the episode,
Yeah.
and it's everywhere. It's brutal, and he earned it. Like
Oh,
he
exactly. You
he
feel
took
so.
that.
Yeah, you feel like a wrestler after that. You're like, nah, nothing can hurt me now after I just did that. That's actually how I found flatbacks, was from that video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, have you? I'm sure you have. Have you heard of Chris Danger?
Yes, I actually trained with him while I was at Flatbacks. He was doing
Okay,
that his how to become a wrestler video.
his documentary.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
there. I was that class while he was there.
I was gonna ask, is that an accurate depiction of what flatbacks is?
Yeah, honestly, it really is, because he was there for a good chunk of our training. I believe it was like a 3 weeks or so. Sorry about that. It was like 3 weeks or so that he was there training with us, and he was there with us. Like he was doing everything we were doing, honestly. So
Okay.
it's very accurate of a depiction of flatbacks.
All right.
Yeah,
Um, so you take the year off, then you decide to go to Ace.
yeah.
What's that training been like with Ace, and how maybe has it differed from your time at Flatbacks?
So I feel like Flatbacks was definitely a good place to start and get the feeling of what it's like to be a professional wrestler and get all the basic tools that you need. And then over at Ace, he will define all of your skills even from the basics. But when you're there, you're there just to do work. You know what I mean? Not everyone will be able to go over to Ace's spot and then yeah, so not everyone I feel like will be able to go over to the foundation and really like feel comfortable there because even as an advanced wrestler, you're not as advanced as you think you are. No matter what you are, you're gonna go train with Ace. He's trained the best of the best. He's trained the people that are at the top of the business, people that everyone knows, and people that everyone looks up to, and everyone really want to aspire to be like. So if you go into the foundation thinking you're the best version of yourself you can be, or you're a certain caliber, I promise you, you're not. Like you're gonna come and then you're gonna be humble because we we don't for professional wrestling, we don't want it to be average. We want to pull up to any show we're at, and you know that Ace has trained us. We're from the foundation because we want to make the whole space of professional wrestling better, and that's what he preaches. So it's really just a lot of the nitty gritty stuff. Like Ace, a lot of the times would be like, "Listen, like we'll do a spot." We're like, "No, that was perfect," but there are these little things you could fix to make it even better. To like a normal person, this is gonna be amazing. A normal viewer, a normal promoter, a normal trainer, this is amazing. Like this would be 10 times better than a lot of the other people. But from my eyes, I want you to be like the best of the best. So you need to do these little things to get it better and then just redo it so we could keep going like that. So it's a lot of tediousness, but at the end of the day, he just wants the best for everyone. And you can really feel that. It's like a family environment there because there's like a core group of people that have been there since I've been there. And we're all like honestly really close at this point. We want the best for each other.
Okay. We've talked about a little bit about Breeze, a little bit about Spears, a little bit about Ace.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a book full of advice from all three men. But if
Yeah.
you could pick one bit of advice from each of those guys to share, like what would that be?
Um, so I can definitely say from Ace, just saying that I'm there now. He preaches this all the time, and he will say it 100 times throughout a training. He'll say, "Cleanliness equals speed." So you don't need to be going 1,000 miles an hour in a match to get a reaction out of people. You go slow and really do everything methodically, and you're going to get the same reaction you get out of the fans that you're going to get if you went 1,000 miles an hour because people need some time to digest what you did. And another thing he says is you're selling emotion. So like you're trying to pull emotion out of people. And sometimes that doesn't mean doing the biggest move. That doesn't mean doing a 450 splash off the top rope into a table. Like, nah, you're trying to pull emotion out of people. And it takes time to attach emotion to a person in the ring. So you need to take everything slow and you will get to where you want to be. You don't have to really veer off from the basics if you didn't want to. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's from Ace. He gives a lot of advice, and I'll probably go to training later today, and then I'll be like, damn, I should have told him this as well because he drops gems all the time. Like it's
I
crazy. I always learn something new there. Um, Spears, I will say, when I was at Flatbacks, I didn't open up a lot when it comes to my character. I went in as an athlete. So I went in just trying to be the most athletic person, trying to get all my stuff done and trying to just wow everyone with my athleticism. And he would harp on me all the time, like, Nick, you need to get a character down. Without a character, you're nothing in this business. Without a character, you're not going to go anywhere. They have a bunch of athletes, they have the NIL program. If they want athletes, they'll go to the NFL and ask all of them once they're done. If you want, come here. Go to the NCAA. Once you're done with your career, we got you. Come here and we'll give you a try. So they got athletes, they're not looking for that. They're looking for coachable and relatable people that are willing to open up and create a character. That's the one thing. I'm not even gonna lie. By the time I left Flatbacks, I still didn't have a character because I couldn't do it. It's hard. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So him is really just focus on your character. Make sure you can pull emotion out of people with a character and get them to relate to you. And as far as Breeze, I would say honestly, it's the same thing as Spears because they both have very, very good characters in wrestling. So they both really just harped on the character portion for me.
Okay. Uh, just I guess a little sidebar.
Yeah.
Sean Spears recently, in NXT,
Yeah.
won his first championship, I think, on TV in general.
Yeah.
Uh, is that something like that you was paying attention to, and how does it feel to, that guy has worked his butt off for years. He's part of the people that trained you. How did it feel to be able to watch Spears achieve probably a goal of his that he's had for a long time?
Honestly, it was amazing. Like I was really happy for him because I've seen from back then how hard he's been working to get to this point. And even if you just watch all of his stuff from when he was um, Ty Dillinger back in um FCW or WWE NXT and all that stuff to when he went over to AEW to now where he's back in NXT, that man deserves all the flowers that he gets. He's really been there. He's wants the best for the business and he's in NXT and he's making all of the people in NXT look like just vets. He's making them look amazing
Yeah,
because you know what I mean? So he's given so much to the business when it comes to flatbacks and when it comes to just in general, him as a worker, like he deserves everything he has coming to him. You know what I mean?
definitely.
So it was really cool.
Who are your biggest inspirations in professional wrestling?
So my biggest inspiration in professional wrestling, a lot of people find very strange. So Shawn Michaels is a basic. A lot of people need to be inspired by Shawn Michaels. He's one of the goats. Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth, Carlito.
I like
Carlito,
that.
yeah, Carlito, Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican is to me, he's a Puerto Rican goat because even from when I watched him as a kid, I watched his whole first run with WWE.
Hmm.
The things that guy did in his first runs can't go on.
Incredible.
Incredible. He came in first match and won a championship. Like, what do you
Against John Cena.
against John Cena? And now look at John Cena. He's literally the GOAT. Like, it's
Yes.
ridiculous. Carlito, and then Jeff Hardy. Just and I'm not talking about 2009 Jeff Hardy because yeah, Jeff Hardy was bigger than Obama in 2009. We all know that. But like Jeff Hardy when like 2000s, like early Jeff Hardy,
Hmm.
like Hardy Boys Jeff Hardy, when he would just come in the different fits and the hair would be different colors, just wearing like the hat, like
Yeah.
that Jeff Hardy, reckless. I loved it.
I think the most underrated version of Jeff is like early, like 2003 Raw. Got the
Yeah.
short hair, the like
Oh yeah,
glow in
yeah.
the dark face paint. Like, I don't know, something about that just was different. Like, nobody else was doing it. I'm a big Jeff Hardy fan. Like, I've jumped off too much stuff because of Jeff Hardy.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's crazy is I thought when I got into wrestling that I would want to be just like Jeff, like doing swantons and doing all stuff at the top. And then I realized that I don't think that I'm meant for that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Doing stuff like that, it's not. I'll jump off the side, but I don't know about do tables and off ladders. I'm scared of heights, so I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say those are my biggest inspirations when it comes to wrestling.
How long after your training, whether at Flatbacks or at the foundation, was it before you actually got to make your debut in a debut match?
So I did my first debut match was at CCW this year. It would have been in
Okay.
February. Yeah, so I would say altogether it was a little over a year's worth of training where I
Hmm.
got to do my first match. And I could have wrestled before that, but I'm a perfectionist and I want to make sure I have everything before even stepping out once. I don't want a lot of flaws in my game. I want to be one of the best version of myself at that standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, even to the point where Ace was like, I told him that when I first went to the foundation, like I want to like fine tune everything and be the perfect version of a wrestler that I can be at the moment before I do anything. To the point where he was just kind of like a couple months before, like you should just start working. I know you want to be a perfectionist, but you got to start working, man. You got to get yourself out there because in this business, man, you don't got a lot of time when it comes to the bumps in reality.
Yes.
I mean, your body's gonna take its toll. So just get it started. Start making a name for yourself.
What were you thinking the first time you walked through the curtain?
Oh, I was so nervous. I was like, um, kind of like those nerves you would get before doing sports, like before a big game or something. Exactly that. And then I stepped through the curtain. I would say for about 5 seconds, I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. But then after that, you look in the crowd, you see all the people, you see them cheering for you, you see them wanting to be entertained, and they're there to see you. They paid for a show. So they're there to see people like you. Now you're in the ring. You're not behind the guardrails. Like you're the person people are there to see. And once you really soak that in, like it took me a second and I realized I'm like, oh no, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm gonna give these people a show. And this is like Nick doing this right now. Little Nick, the one that was asleep in the wrestling ring. Yeah, this is what he wanted to do. This is what he was working for. So you're home. You just gotta calm down. You got it.
How'd you feel after your debut?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. I just wanted to keep, I kind of like wanted to keep doing it. Like I got addicted to it immediately. I was already addicted to the training, but once I got the reaction out the fans, once I was in there doing what I've been training to do and getting to the point where I've been trying to get to, I just needed as much as possible. I needed to get in that ring in front of those people again, man.
Okay. Who who's been your favorite opponent so far?
So far, um, I was able to wrestle. So the guy I wrestled at CCW, his name is Hotshot Mike Reed. Loved
Okay.
working with him. He has a lot of years experience in professional wrestling. Like he was one of the guys, when Kurt Angle did the open challenge in like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys. Open challenge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's been in it for a while. So it was a pleasure working with him. Like so easy to work with him. So he was one of my top guys. And then I also was able to wrestle at FIP Keegan Garland,
Hmm.
Scotty Toddy's son. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, so I was able to wrestle him, and it was fun. It was a great time. Got a lot of love for that guy.
Who were some of your dream match opponents if you could wrestle anybody?
I'll give you some that I feel like is possible to happen because a lot of them
Okay.
I know it's not possible. Like I'm not going to be able to wrestle Shawn Michaels. Like it's his time. He's doing NXT now.
Yeah.
He's trying to get back in the ring. So I would love to wrestle Nick Nemeth. That would be amazing. That would be
Okay.
a great. That was definitely one of the top of my list. Carlito as well. I also want to wrestle him because these are people that influenced me as a kid. So if I get to wrestle them now, it would just be amazing. It'd be like a dream come true. And then I would. This one's like I know this will happen at some point. I want to wrestle Carmelo Hayes because he's from Boston and I'm from Boston. And now I
Okay.
want to wrestle him, but like not any situation. I want to wrestle Carmelo Hayes in the TD Garden. That the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. That would be just like chef's kiss. That'd be amazing. That'd be a full
Okay.
circle.
Okay. What are your biggest goals for 2025?
2025. So since I did just make my debut this year, in the professional wrestling industry, so I want to really just make a name for myself. I want to travel as much as possible, wrestle as much as possible, wrestle for the bigger independent promotions. But now with this whole WWEID thing coming up, with the whole them trying to really get in the independent space, I would love to get an opportunity to insert my name into one of the draft classes of the WWEID program because I know personally and I feel deep down in my heart that is where I'm meant to be coming up soon in my wrestling journey.
Okay. Okay. Thank you 100%. This was a great time. Um, I'm gonna leave the door open. If you ever want to come back, I'd love to have you back on for a follow up.
Perfect. That'd be amazing. Honestly, I had a great time. I just want to thank you for the opportunity as well.
Of course. Before we go, I know we did it at the beginning, but for anybody that made a miss at the beginning, would you like to shout out your social medias one more time?
Yeah. So if you want to follow my social medias on Instagram, it's going to be at Nicholas AJ Rodriguez. And it's going to be, yeah, at Nicholas AJ Rodriguez, the Lost Boy AJ Rodriguez.
Got you. Thank you once again. I'm gonna keep saying it, but I will just send us off with see you soon, AJ.
Of course, see you very soon. I appreciate it.